Alrighty, we have some light switches here that are all covered with paint. So first we'll take the cover off our switches here. Okay, they did ground them, that was good. They have a decent connection on the side of the switch here. So we can just unhook our two wires here. I'll undo our ground wire first. There's paint on that ground wire, so I'll just clip it off here. I'll get it down out of our way here. Okay, these wires are a little long, so I'll clip a little off here. Put our wire around the screw the direction our screw turns. Make sure it's nice and tight. Make sure our copper's under the screw head all the way around and our insulation's not pinched. Okay, we can shorten this one up some too. and you make your loop, you keep your wire going the direction your screw turns. Make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, we'll take out our ground wire down here, and we'll put it on our green screw. I like helping this landlord. He has a very good reputation around town, and he's known for taking good care of his tenants and maintaining his property. And I enjoy making YouTube videos. And him and I like the free spaghetti dinners they have over at the Baptist Church the last Monday of every month. Put this switch in. We're all done with this one. Make sure our ground wire is away from everything in here. We'll center it here. And we'll put a nice new cover on here. We'll have to get a double plate. Get it nice and snug and make sure it's centered on our box here. Just a bit here. Okay, now we get our second one out of here. You can see how badly dirty that is on the inside and covered with paint and nasty looking. So we're putting in nice new ones. I'm going to shut my breaker off because I got some ground wire that's really close to the terminals here. We're not going to cut this ground wire off because it's kind of short, so we'll just unhook this one. And we'll get it back over here. And you can see how messed up and painted and nasty looking that light switch is there. So here's our reds, and here's a wire nut that's all taped up, so we'll take a look at that. See how they did in here. Doesn't look bad. Okay, but it's all uneven. See how much bare copper wire is up here? And there's insulation up here and up here. So I'm gonna cut all this off here. So we'll get this ground wire out of here. It's all twisted up around all these other wires. I don't like that. So we'll get them untwisted so we can get them out away from everything here. I love twisted wires, don't you? I'll get it down over here. Now we got it where we want it. Make that shorter there, so we'll strip with our 14 gauge hole here. Okay, so we get our insulation even at the bottom here. Get our first two started to twist here. Get our third one. Get our insulation even at the bottom here. Bring it in so it's nice and even. Clip them so they're all even on the end here. We'll put our wire nut on, make sure our insulation goes up into the bottom of our wire nut. Okay, now we can get our wires into the back of the box here. You know what, instead of pawing through all this, dump it all out. It makes it a lot easier instead of pawing through all that stuff. So, we'll get our ground wire on our green screw. Those are loop the direction our screw turns. Just let them lay, you don't get upset. Okay, put our ground wire on our green screw here. Like that. Now we'll bring it down. We'll keep our ground wire down here at the bottom. Put our red up here on, it doesn't matter which screw because it's only a single pole switch. It's slightly long here, so take it off. It's a lot nicer not to paw through all that and just dump it out so you see where everything is. It's a lot nicer. Okay, so we'll make our loop the direction our screw turns here. Another nice thing is if I have to have a whole bunch of screws and stuff, I'd rather just dump them out. And instead of pawing through it, you just dump them out and you just carry a dustpan with you and just scoop them all up with the dustpan and put them all back in your jar. Okay, there's our red wire on the top. It doesn't matter which one goes on the top or on the bottom. We'll get our black one. Close our loop the direction our screw turns. And that's what we want right there. Make sure our copper's under the screw head all the way around and our insulation's not pinched. Now we can fold our wires back into our box here. We can go down and go like an accordion like this. And we'll keep our ground wire down here on the bottom so it doesn't touch anything we don't want it to touch. I'll just take my light and just make sure our ground wires are down away from everything so that they don't touch anything we don't want it to touch. I'll just push it down here, make sure it's away from everything. And we are all ready for our covers. So here in the country I was born in, we use 14 American wire gauge on 15 amps, 12 American wire gauge on 20 amps. Black is live, white is neutral, the berry, the green is the ground. Red and blue are also live colors. However, you may find white live in a 110, 120 volt switch loop or in a 220, 240 volt circuit where the appliance does not require a neutral. Peace. Thanks for watching.